This is a classroom. The teacher stands at the front and the students watch and listen. Students are passive learners. You'll recognize this because it's probably how you were taught and how your parents were taught before that. But there are lots of problems with this approach to teaching. You see, not all students learn at the same speed, so some get left behind. And while some students learn better by listening, others may learn better by doing. This means that students are often left struggling to keep up, waiting for others, or having to reteach themselves in the way that works best for them. But there is another way. The flipped classroom addresses these problems and makes learning more personal. First, the teacher makes a video that delivers the content they usually teach in class. Then they share it online so students can watch it before the next lesson. Students can rewind and rewatch a video as many times as they like and come to class with questions to ask the teacher. Students can access the videos anytime, anywhere. This provides more flexibility. Students can also spend the time they need with the material in order to understand it. This may be more or less than other students or for certain concepts. The lessons are also there for students to return to when studying for tests and exams. In a flipped classroom, the teacher is now able to spend more time leading activities that help students become active learners and engaged participants in their education. Flipping also gives students the ability to learn more independently. Instead of sitting and listening, students can spend class time applying their knowledge in more practical ways. And teachers are able to spend their time working with students and giving them individual support and attention.
In addition to being part of a flipped classroom, students will be learning using an asynchronous mastery-based model. So what that means is students will watch a video and take notes at home, and then come to class prepared with any questions that they had. There will be a summary mini lesson and demonstrations at the beginning of every day, outlining the major concepts for each topic. Once that is completed, students will then move on to practice and activities. In terms of practice and activities, there are required elements that all students must complete, and then there are choice elements, where students get to decide what type of activity is going to work best for them. Once they've completed the practice and activities and they've checked their answers, they can move on to a mastery check. So mastery check are multiple choice questions that must be completed in class, and they must score 80% or higher in order to move on to the next topic. If 80% is not achieved on a mastery check, they will then sit down and have a discussion with me. In that discussion, we'll take a look at the answers that they did not get right, and then appropriate practice will be assigned. After they've completed more practice, they can go back and be reassigned another mastery check for that topic, and the same thing applies. If they get 80% or higher, they can move on to the next topic. If they don't, they'll go back into another discussion with some more practice and go back. If students do achieve 80% and higher, but they didn't achieve perfect and they want to redo the mastery check, they can go through this more practice cycle as well. Once they move on to the next topic, the cycle repeats itself. They start with the videos, with the note templates, and can move on. So where are those note templates? Note templates can be found on the class website. So for every topic, there are guiding questions that are the overarching learning goals of that particular topic that students should be able to answer when they're finished with that topic. Students will click on the student video link, which takes them to a video that has embedded questions that will help guide their learning as they go through the video. Note templates are there. Students don't have to use them, but it is a good guide to help them know all the important information. Make sure that they get all the information from the video. Again, on the website will be the required activities as well as choice activities, some extra practice, and additional interesting information. At the beginning of every unit, students will get a unit checklist. This is where all the topics are outlined as well as the learning objectives, as well as a pacing guide of the approximate number of classes that students should spend on a particular topic. With that is a spot for check-ins. So every day I will check in with every student and I will stamp what topic we checked in about. So I will ask questions about where they're at, the activities they're working on. I will answer questions about videos or anything that they had to do with that topic. They will then monitor in terms of the activities, check off whether they have completed them. They will show me completion, and then they will keep track as well of mastery checks. So they can check off if they completed them, but they do need to keep track of how many attempts they've had, just so that it's easier to work and give them codes for the second, third, and fourth attempt if needed. Taking a look at the topics, even though it's asynchronous and students can work through at their own pace, spending more time on subjects that they need a little bit more time on, there are completion dates. So taking a look, first 3 topics of biology need to be completed by Friday, February the 19th. If they're not completed by that date, a framework will be set up in terms of after school help, and a call will be made home so that parents know that the students need to do a little bit of extra work at home. On the back of the unit checklist, students can find outlines of deadlines and evaluations that will be for their marks throughout the unit. There will be particular labs listed. Labs must be completed in class and are due at the end of the in-class time work periods. Labs do not get to go home. Assignments will be done throughout the class, but they can be taken and completed at home if need be. Due dates are always set out at the beginning of the unit. The unit test is always set up as well. And because this class is asynchronous and students will be working at different speeds, there is a late test date. In order to be eligible for the late test date, students must submit an application. They must get the application from me. This must be signed by their parents and submitted minimum 2 days prior to the test. Just because they've submitted the application does not guarantee that they will be able to write on the late test date. So I will let them know the day before if their application has been accepted or not. There must be valid reasons for why they're applying. So whether it was they were sick and they missed some days, or they were away because of a sporting event or a school field trip. But there must be valid reasons as to why they're asking to write on the late test date. So this is the basic overview of what the class will look like this year. Be sure to keep checking into the class website regularly as it is updated, and there's a lot of information to help guide throughout this course. Keep in mind, this course, the goal is to encourage independence and time management and give students, putting them in the driver's seat of their learning, letting them make choices. So I look forward to seeing you in class. Take care.